Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Raceroom Raceway for round 2 of the DTM 92 and the Touring Classics League for RWB International. Special guest tonight, I've got, commonly referred to as the Alien, but I've got Speed Demon with us tonight, so say hi.
Hello guys and gentlemen, ladies, all forms. Got my good friend Tiger with me, so we should have a cracking little battle in the commentary box as well.
Well, you know what? I tell you what, I'm much better in here today than out there with the rest of them. I'll tell you why. One, it's too bloody hot, and secondly, I just spent 40 minutes out there driving like a bat out of hell, and I couldn't get anywhere near these fellas. I was I think I was second to last out of 16, 17. I was doing 1:15.5, and in the normal world, Speed, in the normal world, that's pretty good. In this bunch, Jesus Christ, honestly, I might as well just pack up, bugger off to Lidl's, buy a month's worth of shopping and fucking take up table tennis.
Well, that's it when it comes to the leagues like this where we closely monitor performance between people. You're always going to have a battle there, no matter how far you're off the pace. But yeah, it does get a bit disheartening when you're pushing to the limit and you're still 2 seconds off the fast guys. It's hard to swallow sometimes. It takes another man to swallow the pride and admit that when they're defeated.
Yeah, and I suppose you have to get over your own sense of self-pride on what you think you can do and what you can actually do when you're up against these sorts of fellas. And I think I'll get over it. That just not quite yet, but yeah, they are really pushing it out there. Of course, everyone knows Raceroom Raceway. It's a free track that comes with Raceroom Racing Experience. Of course, you know, there's no excuse to not know the track. I think everybody knows it. We've got a variation of cars out there tonight, Speed, haven't we? Do you want to talk through some of them? Let's talk with the not the DTMs first. What have we got there?
The DTMs, we've got the Merc 92. I think it's a C-Class body style. Very well known in the 90s eras, where you had Nicky Tin's father, Kurt. They used to race it. Yeah, and also you got BMW, I think it's the D90. I'm not too sure, but also you got an Opel in this DTM, and I think you've got the Audi Quattro.
Yeah, the V8, right?
Yeah, one of the few four-wheel drive race cars nowadays.
Awesome. And what about the classics? GTR, the GTR is out there, I believe. What else? The Volvo 240.
Yeah, I think you got the 6 Series, BMW as well, and a Ford Mustang. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head what's in these classes. It's not particularly class I'm fond of, so.
Yeah, you're right, and I think also isn't the M3 part of the M3 Evo? Isn't that part of the classics pack?
I don't know. I'm just going to go and check the surface to see what cars we've actually got in each class. Yeah, so in the DTM 92s, you've got the Audi V8 DTM, the BMW M3 Sport Evolution, the Ford Mustang GT, the Mercedes 190e Evo 2, and the Opel 3000. And in the classic touring cars, you've got the BMW 635, which is the 6 Series shape. You've also got the BMW M3 E30 Coupe, the Nissan Skyline GTR R32, and the Volvo 240 Turbo.
Yeah, a good range there. So there you go. We've given you a rundown from the cars. We're in the qualifying section now. About 11.5 minutes left. Currently, Rodders is on the fastest lap with a 1:12. Jesus, 1:12.8. What does that man eat for breakfast, Speed? Is it Castrollar or is it Spark?
Well, with being a Scottish man, I think it's a combination of Iron Brew and haggis.
Iron Brew and haggis. There's no question about it. And you know, I'm being very, very sort of terse about it because there's no way on earth I could get anywhere near that sort of time. If you're listening to the stream, could you get 112 around here? And I'm willing to bet they'll go faster. Of course, our resident alien, you Speed. Some say that you dream anything less than 110. So what sort of time would you get around here?
It's hard to say. It's obviously we're running two different classes, so obviously I think Rodders and top two currently are in the touring car classics, with them being in the Skyline. So it's hard to say. I'm not a particular fan of these cars, so I don't usually drive them that often, but I'd probably say I'll be around the same pace as Rodders. We have similar speeds. I lost my Tiger. Has he just gone quiet?
Oh, whoops, sorry, pressing the wrong button. Typical, yeah. So 1 minute I get 1 minute 15 around here, and the next I'm pressing the wrong bloody button. So what I was saying there, Speed, was that let's, for the sake of anyone watching and for the sake of the video later on, let's have a quick rundown of the times here. I've got the director board here, so I can see that Madley has just pipped Rodders with a 112.7. Rodders, 100th of a second behind him, sorry, 1/10 with a 112.8. But of course, Mark Bean, Mr. Bean there, 12.8 as well. Banksy with a 13.1. So when you look at the leader to, you know, 5th place, you're looking at, you know, half a second. That's what you've got, half a second between the top 5. That's fairly close, right?
Oh yes, I reckon the time's going to come down tumbling. We're only 5-6 minutes into the first part of this qualifying session, so I reckon once the lads get their eyes in, you're going to be talking the seconds going to be covering the top 10. Like, it's covering the top 10 at the minute. You're probably looking at a seconds covering the top 15. Once some of the lads get their eyes in, because I know a lot of them don't practice. I know Charger's not a fan of running laps and laps and laps to practice. I'll jump in when the qualifying starts and I'll slowly get my pace down, and you'll see that he'll go no doubtly quicker in the race than he does in qualifying.
Yeah.
There's a few of us in there that are the same.
And you've elected to stay out of this league, but for the sake of our viewers, if you were running DTM 92's, what car would you be choosing, Speed?
Well, this league, you've got a choice. You've got DTM 92's or you've got classics. I think if you run the DTM in the first race, you have to use a classic in the second race, and vice versa throughout the season. So you only think so. I don't know. It was going to toss up. I think I would have done what Rodders did in the first one and choose the Opel car. I think I'd have gone for the Opel, whatever it was that I reeled off earlier. Just because I tend to stay away from the. I'm not going to use. I'll use the word OP, but not as in the sense that it's overpowered. It's just one of the well-known cars that you've got, the Merc and the Beamer, the two well-known easy cars to drive. You know, for the fact that you're going to have a decent race, you're going to be up there. You're not going to be struggling to pretty much go around the corner and go quick in the straight. So.
Yeah, and you know, with all respect, you say they're easy cars to drive, but they're not really, are they? I mean, all right, I'm Mr. Average, and I don't think that they're easy cars to drive around here. This is quite a demanding circuit, I think, but of course they're easy for. They're easy if you go around at an average sort of pace, but the sort of pace at the top, you know, let's say top 15. I'm gonna have to say the top 15 because, well, the top 16 because the top 16 so far from a 112.4, which is Rodders, down to a 115.2, which is which is Charger. You know, I'm outside of that, so yeah, I found that they're quite twitchy, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, I think it's that day and age where the tyre technology wasn't really there. People didn't know as much with spring and damper settings. Also, you wasn't really knowing diff settings, but they had to kind of know about the chassis setup. You know, having stiffness in certain parts of the car to, you know, generate gripping.
Yeah, quite. And I think something else we need to mention here, Speed, and that is that, of course, everyone's on default setups. There's been no no car setups at all. It's all default setups. The only thing they can change, if I remember rightly, is the brake bias and the amount of fuel that they're carrying. So,
Yeah, that's correct. It's a brake bias adjustment, and I think brake pressure as well. I think you can adjust brake pressure on the default set. So I know people tend to struggle with locking up and stuff like that. I can't remember if all cars have ABS in these 2 series. I think I know the Beamer and the Merc have ABS in the DTM class. I'm not sure about the others.
yeah. And I think talking about the guys out there with 5 minutes left of qualifying. I'm looking at the board now. 22 runners. We've got a couple of guests with us tonight. Do you know them? Speed, Frederico's, and Timo, i.e. Wagner and Connett.
Yes, Timo raced last week. It was an excellent battle with Charger. I think it was Charger. No, he had an accident at the start. That was it. There's also Ben Davis. He was a newcomer last week. Mike, I think he was raced last week. Not too sure though, but obviously joined throughout the week. Frederick, he's been a long time racer. Shows up for a couple of races a season. Obviously has other commitments, so he can't always race with us. That's the beauty of RWB, is that you don't have to be a full-time thing. We're more of a casual league where you come and race. Yeah, we do allow drop rounds, so you can afford to miss the odd race now and again.
Yeah, very good point. And with this particular league, there's 4 races, and you can drop one of them, or your worst time for any one of the 4 races can be discounted from the overall results. Going back to Ben Davis, quite interesting. I met Ben Davis. I didn't meet Ben Davis. I was chatting to him on our Discord channel. Really nice chap. Unbelievably, this guy, and we will see him. He's number 14. He's 14th on the board at the minute with, let me see now, a 1 minute 14.3. He's driving with a controller. He's driving with a controller speed. What do you think of that as an alien?
It's phenomenal. I think back in the day we all started racing with controls. I know I did back in my console peasant days, and when I first started, even going back to Gran Turismo on the old PlayStation, racing with my uncle. Always racing a controller, so we all started back in them days with a controller. But it's a new form that you don't really see many people racing sims with controllers nowadays. There's way the market's gone.
Yep, he must have thumbs on universal joints, that fella. Fair play to him. As we see Marco there just go through the last corner. I don't know any of these. I don't know the track names for any of the corners here, guys. So we're probably referring to them as the corner. With what we've got left, 2.5 minutes of qualifying left. Currently, Rodders is going to take pole there, 112.4, but only 3 tenths behind is Madley with a 112.7. Really pushing it all the way to the end there. So let's look up 20th place. Timo is running a 115.7. Flack 9 is running a 117, and Frederico's or Wagner is running a 116. So if I'd stayed in the race, which I elected to come out, I would have been right down the bottom there. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't got delusions of grandeur, and I'm saying this for the benefit of anyone who watches I know there's quite a few that watch our stream and quite a few that watch the video afterwards. If you're thinking about coming along to RWB, but you see some of these races and some of these times, don't be put off by it, because it's not just about what's being run in qualifying, but how you race, your racecraft. And if you stay on the grey stuff, the chances are, if you start last, you probably won't finish last. And I've had plenty of really good results in races where I've just played the waiting game. Call it the eagle, call it in ambush, but that's certainly a strategy, not just in a virtual race group like RWB, but also in real life as well, right, Speed?
Oh yeah, like you said. Sorry, my mind's just gone blank.
Well, because I'm waffling. This is dialogue, Speed, not monologue. But I do get the fact I dribble on sometimes. Sorry, fellas. No, what I'm saying is that just because you might be a great deal slower than a good portion of those in RWB, don't let that put you off from coming along and trying your hand, because what you can do is race your pace. You'll get quicker by racing with these fellas anyway, and when it comes to a race, the chances are you'll pick up a few places anyway if you keep it on the grey stuff.
Yeah, it's always playing the long game. Yeah, you might not be the quickest, but if you can run within 0.2 of your fastest lap through the entire race, yeah, someone at the front might be 4 attempts quicker than you overall, but they might be only able to do that lap once or twice in the race. They might be running the same pace as you.
Yeah.
It's all about being consistent, as that is the end of qualifying. It looks it.
It is. You want to run down their speed?
Yeah, we've got RWB Rodders in pole in the Nissan, followed by Justin Madley in the Nissan as well, followed by Banksy in the Merc, and CSAM in the Merc, RWB Smug Cunt, John Haig in the Nissan as well, Beans in the Volvo, Evil in the, I can't see, Beamer, Fergie in the Beamer, Audi in the Opel, Gabsy in the Audi, Dave Crew in the Beamer, Ben Davis in the Volvo, Pinners in the Beamer, Marco, John, FX, H-Tune, Miles, Charger, Timo, Flack, and Frederick rounding out the 22 runs we have here tonight.
Wonderful. Yeah, very good. And yeah, 22. So this is going to be a hell of a race. Any pit stops, speed?
Yeah, I think it's a 45-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. I think the pit window will open 15 minutes into the race and close 15 minutes towards the end of the race. So it gives them 15 minutes to pit in, or it could be 10 minutes either side. I can't remember how it works out for a 45-minute race.
Yeah. And if you were racing speed, would you divulge? What would be your pit stop strategy? Would you get in there early, or would you play the long game and then jump in at the end? And would you? What sort of fuel strategy would you run?
I'll be taking my fuel for the race. I won't be putting fuel in the pit stop. I'd only be doing my 4 tyres in the pit stop. But as it goes for jumping in early or pitting late, it all depends on where I am on track and if I'm racing with anyone.
Marvellous.
I'm racing.
Yeah, go on.
I say if I was racing with someone, I'd be, as soon as that pit window opens, or I'm comfortable that I know I can get to the end on the tyres that I come out on, I'll be pitting as soon as possible. But if I'm in front of someone, I'll be trying to pull away, and if they dive in the pits, I'll be going, right then, now it's time to put my hammer down and put my fastest laps in.
Excellent. A quick shout out to those, got a couple of people on the in the chat there. So hi to Nut, I think that's for CRM Power, and also to what's that? Toned Cos. Just a quick shout out to them. Do yourself a favour, fellas. Stop sitting there voyeuring. Get people in the stream, and feel free to ask questions, and we'll pick them up. One other final thing, 20 seconds left now of warm-up. We do have control of the cameras. However, for the first part of the race, we'll leave it as auto-director. And then as the gaps start to increase, I dare say Speed and I will take control of the cameras. And we'll probably give you forewarning of that. With 5 seconds left to go now before the warm-up finishes. And then we expect them to see them on the start straight.
All I hope is that the first camera is better than the camera for last week's race, where you didn't see any of the start.
You just saw the track, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, that was the same thing. There was a huge crest just as you come into turn 1, and that's where the camera sat. It wasn't perched up high enough.
Yeah, we're going to do some good camera views tonight. If there's battles going on, doesn't matter whether it's at the front or whether it's at the back, we're going to capture it tonight. So do yourselves a favour, and it's very nice. Yeah, thank you, Toned Cos says, glad to see you back in the commentary box. It's Cos, by the way, you twonk. Yes, thanks very much. If we look down the straight line, we look down the straight there, and 30 seconds ready to go for them to sort their lines out and get on there. We can see Rodders at the front there with that wide old bonnet of that. I think it's racing a GTR, isn't it, Speed?
Yeah, he's in the four-wheel drive GTR, so he's going to get a good start. I think Madley's in the same car, so they're going to be hoping to get decent start as we're away.
And they're off, and off they go there. And Madley and Rodders side by side. Well, not quite, but certainly at the same speed. Oh no, Madley had a bad start there. Madley had a bad start from second down to fourth. Rodders in the lead there with Banksy Kai and the Merc coming into the first chicane. Madley and CSAM side by side there as CSAM just goes in front of him there. Coming down to this second chicane, Rodders at least half a second pulling out. The Opal there, quite interesting. Who's in the Opal?
FX.
FX, excellent. He's had an excellent start then, FX. 13th actually, but still pretty good nonetheless. Yeah, wow, that was a good start.
Yeah, excellent start. I think we got everyone through them first couple of corners without any crashes. Looks like we've had one DC. Oh no, it just looks like it says RWB. The bottom list is actually Flack. That's still in the race.
Yep, it's Flack still in the race. Everyone's still in the race. No one's had a crash. Everyone's nice and clean through, coming up to the end of the first lap, which is just typical of RWB standards when it comes to driving. Don't matter whether you're the fastest or the slowest, you'll get round. Yeah, as they come up to complete the first lap now, and you can see there's three clear pockets there already, Speed.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a breakaway at the front with Rodders having a second lead over Banksy, but then there's a freight train behind Banksy, and then he's a gap to Audi with another freight train behind him. So it's like we've got, like you said, two pockets of cars in the race.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Two pockets, if not probably three or even four. As we see our guest Miles there give way to Vanga into that chicane there. Good stuff. Going through the tunnel there, looking at Rigel, John Haig in the GTR. Is that
Yes, that is a GTR and the Volvo.
A Volvo, you know, a Volvo. For the love of God, it's a Volvo. But this 240 turbo is bloody quick around here.
Yeah, just seeing that there was a lot of track cuts popping up on the right hand side of the screen there. So it looks like Rodder's got caught out by one of them because he's dropped down to fourth place now.
Yep, he has. Should we leave it on auto director for a little while, Speed, before we sort of take control? Because there's still some good battles going on there. Auto director's really good, but after a while it just does its own thing. Looking at Charger there alongside Marco.
Looks like we had a car in the wall there.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, who was it?
Not too sure.
I think it was Dave Crew. He's dropped down. I think it was Dave Crew.
Well, it could have been FX because looking at the damage on the race director side, it looks like it's got 100% damage.
You're right.
So it could have been FX that was in the wall.
Yep, and damage is on, isn't it?
Yes.
In with Pinpoint now in the M3. Right up, guess what? The chuff of H-Tune. H-Tune must be sweating like a nonce in a Barney suit right now with pinners behind.
I think it might be worth going on board with someone just to show how blind some of the press are around this track and see what the struggle is that most people have with this circuit.
Sure, riding with CSAM then. Let's see what CSAM's up to. In the cockpit with CSAM. Anytime you like, auto director, get off. There we go, in the cockpit. Yeah, okay. I think that's a good view. Banksy there. Banksy, he's another real quick driver, right, in RWB. Very quick, very tough.
He's a quick driver, but he's one of these. He's a bit like Vettel. Someone gets into his head, and he will tend to lose it a bit. He's not afraid of people saying that about him. He says it about himself. He does get in his own head sometimes when it comes to being in a racing situation instead of just focusing on his own race. So it's good to see him. Like he's got one of the quick guys in RWB, Sam, right up his chuff.
Yep.
And he's keeping himself composed.
Yeah, he is an emotional driver, but you know, this is a perfect opportunity for him to rely on his talent rather than his emotions, and you know, I'd say he's pulling away a little bit there actually. But Sam again, you know, recently joined RWB. Think he races for another group. Oh, yeah. As Banksy there has a little bit of a tough time in that corner there, but keeps all four wheels on the ground. So yeah, Sam, another very talented and very quick driver. You've had a few battles with him, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had a good few battles with him in the 2 GT3 leagues we did. He rode the Ford Mustang in the first one, which was an absolute demon on the straights, but didn't get round corners so good. And then he chose the boat lift for the second league and did a very good job in that. So he is a quick driver. He's prone to doing a few mistakes, but I think with time he can iron them out and he'll be a super quick, competitive driver through all sims.
Yeah. As we're looking back from Banksy Kai on the wing there, back to Sam. Of course, this battle at the front here is going to be ongoing. There's a good 3 seconds behind Sam to Evil, our resident Evil.
Alongside. Sorry to cut you off, but Sam's up the inside.
Let's see what's going on. Wider shot.
Some great side-by-side battling. I think he's that close to his rear bumper. I think he could smell his sweaty ball sack.
Yeah, he could smell it. He could smell it. It was like a dirty old mackerel.
Especially in the weather that us Europeans are having at the minute. It's very warm throughout Europe.
Grief, where did that come from? Beast from the east last year, and now we've got, I don't know, crikey, I live in Nottingham, not bloody Marbella. It's ridiculous. But anyway, it's only supposed to last for I'm conscious that we could stay on these two for the whole thing, but you know what? I think there's some battles going on everywhere. I think we take a punt here, Speed, until things lessen out a bit. We'll flip back onto road.
It looks to be a great 5-way scrap for the 8th position going on at the minute, so hopefully the auto reactor goes through that.
These two here, they're going to stay glued. I'll keep our eye on the board here. We're watching close with these two, but let's hopefully we'll. Yeah, see, this is where it's at. So we were right to take it off of auto director. Auto director on this stream will flick to the. There's a bit of a gap there. What happened there? What happened there?
I think Sam got a slowdown penalty that he had to serve.
Yeah, I think he did. Now Madley is that was Rodders. Rodders will exploit that as he extends away. Already a second in front of Sam. He's got Banksy Kai has now got 2.5 seconds gap away from Rodders. We'll keep our eye on that. That's dropped to 3. So Banksy is again exploiting that. He would have seen that.
Yeah, there's nothing in the fastest laps at the minute for the top 3 guys. They're all on a 13.2, so we know they've all got similar paces, whether each other can close down that gap to each other.
Yeah.
The English is strong with this one.
Yeah, and to add some context, because our viewers and those who watch the stream afterwards can't see it, we're on, we're 10 minutes in. And the lap timings range from a 113.2 all the way down to, let's say car 20 or 114.7. So, 1.5 seconds between the 20th position and the first position in respect to the actual lap times. Slowest out there at the minute is 117.09, which is RWB Black, and it looks like FX has got 100% damage there.
Yeah, I think he's sustained that damage. That was the car that we saw off in the wall when we was flicking through one of the camera angles earlier on. So I think he's just going to survive around, wait for the pit window to open, which I think is going to open in 10 seconds time, something like that. 10 or 15, 10 or 5 seconds time, and I think he's just going to straight into the pits, get the get the repairs done, get his set of tyres and work on from there.
Yeah, as we look at John D there in the Audi being chased up by Dave Crew. Again, smelling him. He can smell him as we come to the last corner there before the straight. But that Audi, the Quattro in it, it's, you know, it's got plenty of grip in the corners. But you know, does the four wheel slow it down with sort of not top end but acceleration? Do you think, or not?
I think it helps on acceleration. Is that if you can get the, I think you have to drive it more corners more of a V. You know, early apex it, run it wide mid corner, and you know use the 4-wheel drive front, and the pull out of the corners. Use the 4-wheel drive system. So versus where I think the Beamers and the Mercs where they run the corner speed.
Yeah. Riding with Pinpoint then in the M3, chasing, I think that's Mr. Audi actually in the open. And of course Audi chasing that group of 3, which is, I believe that's Gabsy, Dave Crew and John D that we were just recently looking at. Yeah, Audi, another quick, although I'm going to chuck this in there because I can, because I'm commentating. I've beaten him a couple of times in the old Dirt Rally 2 speed, which is, you know, much gratifying.
Especially when he's a Norwegian and the
Especially being a Norwegian and having a house on his own island.
Yep. The Norwegian and the Finnish and all them Scandinavian countries are all known for producing excellent rally drivers, so you have a bit more gratification when you beat one in a rally sim.
Absolutely. As we watch Rigel there, my previous commentator buddy, fighting that GTR sideways drift, 4-wheel drifting around that corner. But you know, fair play to Fergie. Fergie is again staying really, really close with him. Fergie, as Rigel pulls away a bit, he's on it like a pigeon outside Greg. See, there's no stopping him. Who's that? That's Audi, Dave Crew. That's a strange line to be taken through there, but okay.
Yeah, I've just noticed that the pit window did open up on 35 minutes, so it does open up 10 minutes after the race started, and it'll probably close 10 minutes before the race ends. Looks like
so they got 25 minutes, right? 25?
Yes, 25 minutes to make the pit stop in.
Okay, we've got a question in chat here. If you had to pick 10 drivers for a super team, who would they be? Now, let's not say 10 any drivers. Let's say 10 drivers from RWB first, and then we'll go real life. So, what do you think?
I think 10's a big number to choose for a super.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Let's go 5.
5 for an endurance style super team then.
5 endurance super team. Yep. Who would you have from RWB?
I think I'd have myself. Obviously.
Of course you would.
Can't leave myself out. Brothers.
Yeah, Brothers.
C-Sam's another good shout.
Yeah.
Rigel.
Yeah.
That leaves me there. The 5th one's a tough one. We have a lot of good...
If you don't say me, Speed, I'm going to get in a car, come find you and punch your fucking head in.
I can't... I've got to say Tiger, and
Of course you have. Me.
Tiger's that ringer.
So there you go. There's the answer. All right. So it's Speed, it's Rodders, C-Sam, Rigel, and of course me. No, seriously, it would be a tight one, wouldn't it? That 5th one. Crikey, they're also. You'd probably say Banksy.
No, I think you'd have to go with someone that's super consistent. You know, just someone that can go out there, put the laps in. I think it'd be Audi. Audi's really consistent. He's not the quickest out there, but you go and look at his lap times, and he's within 0.1 of a second of his lap time each lap when he's not battling. Obviously, it's hard to say. I know we've got a endurance race coming up in the near future for ACC, and we've got to plan and put some teams together for that. So it's one of them. It's how do we distinguish what teams are going to put together?
Yeah, it is that good. I think that You know what, in all respect, I think that's a really, really good question. And you know what, if you had to choose 5 from RWB, it's a fair assessment that actually there isn't a top 5. You probably have to say that there's probably about 8 or 9 that are really close together outside of perhaps you and Rodders and maybe CSAM. And actually those remaining, 6 or 7 probably would have to have a race off. But as you say, if you're after consistency, then yeah, I know. Is in chat they're saying that's why I said 10. Yeah, I know that. I know, but we'd be all day talking about 10 drivers rather than actually focusing on the race, which is what we're going to do now. So we're riding with Evil now, chasing down Madly. That's a GTR. Who would drive an orange GTR? For the love of God, not even a Welshman would drive an orange GTR. They're supposed to be black or white.
Obviously, Madly does.
Madly, yeah, Madly. He's a lovely guy, Madly. Big old bloody Welshman. Fantastic. And lots of great laughs and races with him with Project Cars 2 race group. It's just great to be in the same group as him again. Yeah. Who's that blue and yellow there chasing up? I think that was Ben Davis, wasn't it?
In the background.
Yeah. No, it can't be Ben. He was in the Volvo last time, wasn't he?
No, I think it is Ben. Who we're looking at? No, it's Beans. McBeans.
It's Beans.
Mr. Bean.
It's Mr. Bean. It's Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean in the Volvo. Quick sit rep for you, everyone. You can see that anyway, and that's Miles has pitted, and so's FX. FX now has just moved up to 21st. That's good news for him. Timo's got 100% damage, so I'm not sure why he's still running. How can you run if you've got 100% damage on here, Steve?
You have to hover over it in the auto direction. It'll tell you what damage they've actually got. So he's got 100% engine damage and 100% transmission damage. So he's Jimmy Ridland. He needs to go and park his car in the garage and call it a game.
He needs to call it a day, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He needs to call it a day. Come join us in the commentary box. Okay, we're looking at Evil there, really chasing Madly down. Look at that GTR extend out. Very long gearing on 4th and 5th gear. That machine.
You can just see it pulling away. It's more of a point and squirt. Get it in the straight direction. Just give it 4 beans. I think that's why it's a good choice for this track, because there's 2 big straights. Obviously this straight on the start finish line, and then obviously the one down towards the last corner. And you manhandle it through the other sections of the track.
Yeah. Okay, looking at some time differences here. So we've got Banksy and CSAM and Rodders within 2 seconds of each other in the top 3. Then we've got Evil and Mr. Bean that we're looking at now. Evil, Madly and Mr. Bean actually. They're within, 2 seconds. Further down the line, conscious of that, we're going to take control soon when we're brave enough to not miss the action with Auto Director and therefore have something to blame. But there's plenty of battles going on down the track there. Charger, Charger's free. He's got 6 seconds from H-Tune and 3 seconds from Timo. 18 seconds behind Timo is Flack. Gabsy and Audi and John D and of course Rigel, they're within 2 seconds of each other, so we could perhaps go and have a look at that. Let's have a look at John D, who's leading that group of 3.
Yeah, it looks like it's quite spread out at the minute.
Yeah, look at that. No sooner I clicked on it than obviously it gained some space, but it seems that Audi and Gabsy are fairly well. Gabsy's super close to Audi. He can smell his keys. For his. I just can't get out of my head that bloody cabin he's got. You can smell the keys to the cabin. We've often talked about getting on a plane and going over there and sitting in the middle of the Norwegian forest, probably be executed by some lunatic that's roving around there. But who are we watching? Audi. Yeah, again consistent, isn't he?
Yeah, doesn't make many mistakes. Very good, solid. It's probably something that you want to do your twilight stint in your endurance race. Just get to see the car does a lap time.
Gabsy's got him. I think Gabsy's got him. He's got him coming down into this corner, I think. He's got the inside. Oh, no. Yeah, he's turned early, so he'll extend out on the just past the apex, but that's enough to cover him. Very good move by Gabs.
I think Audi's got alongside him again, though. Just seems that Opel's got a bit more punch.
Look at that, you're right. But Gabsy perhaps brake late? No, he's not going to risk.
It looks like Seasam's managed to get within 7/10 of Banksy again, with Rodders further 2 seconds behind, so that battle could be spicing up soon.
Yeah, as I just flicked to Madley actually, with Evil right behind him, you know, 0.3 of a second. Let's see what they're getting up.
I can guarantee Bean's just sat there waiting for him to make a mistake and he's going to pounce on it.
So we can see 3 cars there. That's Madley, Mr. Evil and Mr. Bean, or Resident Evil and Mr. Bean. And yeah, I think, wow, God, look at that. Look at that. There's side by side coming down here. Yeah, I think he's just going to take him, isn't he? Isn't he? There you go. He got him. And meanwhile, no one's thinking anything about the Volvo, who sneaks past Madley there, who will be now spitting coal. He'll be spitting coal and eating sheep at the fact that he's just lost 2 positions. And one of those was to a Volvo, quick Volvo nonetheless, but not what he wanted.
Oh, he's just been done over by 2 Englishmen, so he's not going to be happy, is he?
Jesus, no, seriously, he's a lovely guy, and a quick. You know, this guy is quick. You know, there's no, to give you some sort of idea, you know, he was certainly in the top 3 in my view in the Project Cars 2 race group at its height, where there were, you know, a good, I'd say 20 people racing. And I've had a couple of battles with him. On one occasion I practiced non-stop every night, 4 hours in an open wheeler. I can't even remember where the track was, and left everyone else behind, and the battle was with me and him. So I think that's proof of the pudding. If you put the time in, you can get quick. But he's a good racer as he comes into the pits.
Yeah, as we've got Madley coming into the pits, we've got Seasam's only 2/10 behind Banksy. So I think that's a battle that's eating up.
Let's have a look at Seasam, yeah, because he's 1/10 now behind Banksy. Banksy in first position with Rodders 1 second behind Seasam. So flipping over to Seasam now in the cockpit. Look at that. Keep it steady, Banksy. Don't get emotional. Just rely on your outstanding ability to drive that car and most other cars quick. But Seasam, you know, will be very comfortable just sitting there, knowing that his very presence is placing Banksy under pressure. But fair play to Banksy, he's holding it.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if Seasam goes to the pits now, or Banksy goes to the pits. Or as Seasam just completely rear ends Banksy.
Oh.
So Banksy no doubt is going to be spitting feathers over Discord now. He's not burst into calm his rage down. He'll let an outburst out. So
well,
you
know, to be fair, he may well petition that, but we'll see that afterwards. Yeah, there was plenty of lines there, and you know, in my view, Seasam shouldn't have run into him. But Rodders exploited that quite rightly, and Rodders is now in the lead with 3 seconds behind Banksy, and 1 second behind Banksy, 1.8 behind Banksy is Evil, and Seasam now in 4th. So let's for now let's look at Rodders as he extends away. Now 4 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like we've had nearly half the pit now, as Madley was the last one and he's just come out into 13th.
Yeah, so Rodders has now got a good 4 seconds, but he hasn't pitted yet.
Yeah, he's just got in the pits now.
Yep.
Just the pit lane now.
So Banksy back into first position, but again hasn't pitted. So he's got 1.2 clearance to Mr. Evil, Resident Evil, and Bean is close up behind Evil. So there's a battle there for the top three. None of them have pitted, and that's where the battle lies, really. Rodders is in the pits at the minute. Fergie goes up into fourth position, which is great. Audi then passes into fifth. And of course, Audi has not pitted either.
No, I think Seasam's in the pit as well, behind Rodders.
You know what? I'm going to place a bet here. I think we need to look at Madley, and I'll tell you why. Because he's pitted, he's 11th, but he's pitted. But mind you, so Seasam. Seasam has pitted as well. He's just come out, I think, as we see Rodders go out there as well. But that should bump Madley up as a result of having pitted. There you go. He's up to 8th already. So yeah.
As Rodders comes out in front of Charger. Charger's one of the few people that hasn't pitted yet. We've only 9 minutes left on the clock before the pit window closes, and they get a 90-second penalty.
Yeah.
Looks like we've got 3 or 4 coming into the pits at the minute. Obviously, I can see the lead changing between Banksy, Beans, and Evil. So he's.
Best lap out there is Banksy with a 1:13.229.
I think it's Rodders with a 1:12.9.
Oh crikey! How did I miss that? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. 1:12.9. Fair bloody play. But as we said earlier, 1:12.9 down to 1:14. It's only a second, and that covers the top 12 cars.
Yeah, there's nothing in the lap times. I think it's just more mistakes than anything else. I think it's limiting the amount of off tracks you get and the slowdown penalties. That's causing people to lose time in this race.
Yeah. As Evil, who has still yet to pit, but Evil is now in first position. Let's take a look at him. With Fergie half a second behind him, who's yet to pit as well. Rodders has pitted, currently in third, and of course really putting some stonking times in there, about a second or so quicker than Evil and Ferguson. So Evil and Fergie. So it won't take him long to catch up, I don't think, right?
No, it won't be. I think Evil and Fergie have just pitted now, so they're obviously going to drop down to the pack. But I think you'll be happy that your mate Madley's just set the fastest lap on the last time.
Yep, he has. Look at that. He's got new tyres on. He's got the bit between the teeth. 1:12.9. Yeah. So I told you. There he is now. He's in third position. He's pitted. Yeah, I'm going to champion Madley. That's the driver of the race so far for me. But saying that, there's plenty of people out there. We haven't looked at all. Lots of people. Which we're going to do. We're going to do that. We're not going to focus just on where the action is. Of course we will while it's there. But looking back from Banksy, because Mark Bean is Mr. Bean there is 0.2 of a second behind him, and of course there's a battle there with Seasam in that Merc. So yeah. Oh, and is he going to? Oh, he just kept it. But will he be able to take him through the tunnel? Do you think, Seasam?
No, I think he's going to do the gentleman thing, back off and let him gain his position.
Yeah, well, good for Banksy. That's allowed him to extend out away from them two while they have their own little battle. Only 0.7 behind Madley. So looking back from Madley, that'll be quite interesting to see Banksy and how much pressure he puts on.
Yeah, well, I was giving an update on the fastest lap. It looks like Rodders took the fastest lap off Madley on that last lap.
1:12.834. Yeah. Still one person to pit out there, which is Charger, who's currently in second position. 7 seconds behind Rodders, and 2 seconds behind him is Madley, who we're riding with currently looking back at Banksy Kai. Charger's got to pit yet, so really, for the top sort of 3, he's out. That said, I think we need to remember Charger started 19th, was it 19th? So you know, has played a good safe race to climb some positions. But how long does it take the pit stop on this speed?
I think the actual stop time is something like 20-25 seconds, but the pit lane time's something close. Overall, I think it's close to a minute you lose. So
Right. I just had to refresh my stream because pretty bloody poor, to be frank. Clearly no stream, no commentary. There it is, it's back. So yeah, still with Madly now, looking back at Banksy, who is hungry for it. Yeah, Banksy is all over the back of Madly in some of these corners, on it like a Bristolian nightclubber, which of course he is.
I think he's in a Hulk where he's going out after that slight incident he had with Seasam a few laps back. So I think he wants to get redemption. I think he'd be happy if he can get the second place off Madly, as now we're going past Charger.
Yeah, now Charger has yet to pit, and he knows that Banksy's behind him, and he knows that Banksy has changed his tyres. So is it likely that he would give way? Well, not give way, but is it likely that he would do the gentlemanly thing and just let...
I don't think so. I don't think Charger's one of them persons. I think he races for every position. He's not going to be a pushover and let you past. I think he's going to let you race for it, but he's not going to be overly aggressive. If you get alongside him, I think he'll let you have it. He's not going to force you off the track to keep the position. He knows he's not theoretically racing with you for position. He's just racing for overall. I just hope he remembers that he's got to do a pit stop.
Yeah. And we're supposed to be with Charger now, but I can't actually see on the stream. I don't know how good that is for you.
Yeah, we are on the line with Charger. I think we're having a few technical difficulties up here in the commentary box.
Ah, there it is, it's back. Yeah, riding with Charger then, as he looks back to Ben Davis. Is that Ben Davis? No, that's not Ben.
Banksy.
This is Banksy. There's Banksy. No. Banksy.
It's Seasam.
Seasam.
It looks like the graphics didn't update for us. As you can see behind Chargers, a 3-second gap. You can just see in the distance Ben and Fergie on the back. As we look from the back of Chargers car as Charger goes into the pit lane. So he did remember he needed to pit. Yeah,
and he played the long game, and fair play, because that's probably given him some legs. But I think that he'll come out around about, looking at doing some quick sums, I think he'll come out around about 16th.
Yeah, I think he would come out, between the Marco H2 FX battle.
Yeah.
Even though it is quite a big gap between, I think he'll filter out somewhere in between there once he does his tyre change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I can't see on the stream. I've put it back on the auto director because we just simply can't take control of the stream. We can't watch, and I'm hoping that actually a bit of compression later on that gets sorted out. We're riding with Banksy, okay, 4th, right close there with Mr. Bean in the Volvo, as that Volvo just sticks its arse out going up the hill. Banksy on it like a nerd in a library, all over Mr. Bean in some of these closer corners. But again, Mr. Bean, Mark Bean, he's third. He isn't going to give way to. None of them are going to give way. But clearly, if someone's that much faster and you feel you're just holding them up, the onus is always on the person behind you to pass safely. But
at the end of the day, at the end of the day, this is a race now. It's
Quite.
pit stops are being done. It's just a race to the finish now. It's every
Yep.
man for themselves.
Every
So-
man for themselves. And how long left? What, 10 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes exactly. So yeah, every man for themselves. We're all thinking about the championship points and having a good crack at it.
Timo down in 19th there with 74% damage. Seems he's got some damage to his transmission. He's down in 19th. I think there's 3 pockets of fights here, isn't there? There's Mark Bean and Banksy. There's John D and Pinpoint. Let's go and have a look at them, shall we? Let's look at the wing on John.
Yeah, just waiting for the cameras to catch up. Here we go, we're on the back of John D now.
Yeah, back of John D. I think you need to press F5 on yours speed, and it'll refresh it and fast forward it a bit, because we're looking back now at Pinpoint in the BM. Pinpoint, he's now 0.9 of a second behind John D, closing up on some of these corners. So clearly that M3 has got a bit more speed through some of these corners than the Audi, perhaps.
Yeah, I think the Beamer's got it in the corners and the Audi's got it on the straights. So I think Pinnasby wanting to carry as much corner speeds on through the corners, get as close as he can, and hopefully use the draft, and hopefully he's got superior out braking skills so he can get past John D in the Audi.
Yeah. Quick rundown from the top then. First position, we've got Rodders, who's leading now, 8 seconds behind him, Madley. 2 seconds behind Madley, Mark Bean. Then you've got Banksy Kai, who's now still spitting feathers and talking even more with a Bristolian accent than is natural for him. Do you think he will petition that bump at the back there earlier on?
Quite possible. So we'll wait and see after the race. They've got 24 hours after the race finishes. Well, after the race finishes to put the grievances in, and the admins will have a look at it and deem to whether to penalise CSAM or not.
Yeah. Looking at the back now of Fergie, because I noticed that Rigel half a second, you know, when he gets the bit between the teeth, Rigel, he's not, you know, he's another. I mean, look at the closing speed of that GTR. What?
Yeah, that was an easy extra 10-15 mile an hour he had down the straight.
Easy, yeah.
It looks like he outbraked himself into that corner. I bet Fergie's chuckling to himself there.
Yeah. So we missed that, but I think he had too much speed going into that corner.
Yeah, I think he just got into the draft, looked, pulled out, and obviously missed his braking point by a couple of feet, which drove him 6 foot on into the corner. So he'll reload his gun and go for it in another couple of laps. Catch back up to him. Obviously, it looks like he's got the straight line speed on him.
Indeed, yeah. So we'll stay with Rigel for this half of the lap there and see just how much closing speed he's got on Fergie. He does drive that GTR well. The GTR needs some you almost need like a special chip put in your head to be able to drive that thing. As you said, it is a point and squirt, but it is very skitty in some of these corners. You can't throw it about; it'll bite you on it.
I think it's one of them cars that you give it respect and it'll respect you back. But as soon as you start treating it with a bit too much aggression, that's when it starts to bite you.
Yeah, and he's close enough to the arse of Fergie. Those legs of that GTR will take him. I think he'll take him coming into this first chicane. He's going on the outside to have the right exit line, I'm sure.
Yeah, Fergie took a defensive line into that corner. But I don't think the GTR will have him anywhere near around this section of track. I think he's just going to sit as close as he can wait for the straight, because he knows for a fact he can breeze past him in a straight line. So there's no point in risking it, trying to get past in these corners.
Yeah.
So I'll chuck you a question. What do you think thoughts of the race so far? Have you enjoyed it?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I think it's been bloody marvellous. There's some great racing out there. Some serious quick times. I'm thinking to myself now, had I elected to stay in the race, what would my sort of lap timings would have been? I think I probably would have got under a 1:15 as he takes Fergie down the straight towards the last corner there. But has he got it to come in? I don't think so. I think Fergie's got the smaller wheelbase, which will just. Oh no. No, Rigel will have him down the straight now for sure.
Yeah, he's passed him before the start line there, so obviously he's just got to consolidate this position now, hit his braking points, hit the corners and pull away on the straights.
Yeah, he's got that position. Well done, Rigel. Yeah, back to your question, have I enjoyed it? Yes, I have. I think there's been some great racing out there. A little bit disappointed with C-Sam, if I'm honest, hitting Banksy like that. I would really have liked to see Banksy, who was doing really well, and I think that the battle right now between Rodders and Manley would have been Rodders and Banksy, and that's not taking anything away from Manley at all. But you know, fair play to Banksy. He's maintained his 4th position, which is where he stayed. But of course, he's got 6 seconds behind Mr. Bean. So, and with only 3 minutes left, it's a fair assessment that he's not going to close up. You know, what is essentially between 6 and 7 seconds off Mr. Bean. So. Yes, I have enjoyed it. Some really good racing, some close racing in 3 or 4 groups, perhaps. If you had to choose a racer of the day, a driver of the day, who would you elect so far? Speed.
I think I'm going to go with Banks. I think he's managed to keep his composure after having. Yeah, he did excellent for the first part of the race. You know, being out front's not easy. You know, when people are closing you down. Obviously had that little tangle with C-Sam, but kept his composure, kept himself in the race. And yeah, he's still got 2 minutes left of the race. I think he's settling for his 4th position. So yeah, I'm voting for Banksy for my racer, the weight meeting.
And I'm going to go for that as well. And Banksy is not going to be in the top 3, I don't think, at the end of this race. But we're going to pull him down into the commentator's box. I think we should do that going forward. Speed. We'll have the top 3, and then we'll pull in one other. So for this race, although it's yet to finish, Banksy is our driver of the race. He'll finish in 4th position, I've no doubt. Although only 1.8 seconds behind him is C-Sam. But you know, C-Sam, you're going to have to bolt on another turbo to catch Banksy. I'm afraid he's not going to let you. So we'll pull him down. I'd be interested to see what he says with regards to being hit by C-Sam. And you know, racing incidents happen at the end of the day. I think that should be petitioned, but that's not being, you know, extremist about it. That's the whole point of racing. If you're not happy with how something happened out there, then ask for someone else's view or opinion. That'd be down to him anyway. So yeah. Who else has raced particularly well, do you think, Speed?
I think they've all raced well. We've had a clean first couple of laps, and the only incident we've really seen is the one with C-Sam and Banksy, but everyone else seemed to be battling hard, racing hard, but keeping it clean. So yeah. Kudos to all. I think we chose Banksy out of the necessity that he did lead the race for a long period of time, and unfortunately had that accident, so he seems to outstand above everyone else. But everyone else has seemed to be a good standard of racing tonight, as it always is with RWB. Yeah,
absolutely agree. And you know, apologies to those watching, and apologies to the video later for I'd say there was a good bloody 10 minutes, I suppose, where the stream was crap. I'm not sure why that was, but these things happen. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on out there. As we ride with Mark Bean, I flicked it onto him because he's right closer up with Madley there, and of course Madley is in second. Madley is now slowed down because he's come across some back markers. Who's in front of him?
Oh, that's hard to say.
Very hard, yeah, and the system doesn't
We can always we can flick the track map up. We've just flicked the track map up, and maybe we can see on that where we are. So obviously,
so it's Charger.
Sorry, Bing's madly on top. Yeah, there's a bunch of cars together. That's what we can. So is it the Charger FX High Tune Battle?
Yeah,
that's
it
in
is.
front of them.
Yeah. And look, I know Speed is. I am. We're very conscious that. Oh, there's a checkered flag.
So is that the race over, or is it still one lap to go? I don't think.
No, that's it. That's the race. That's the race. We finished the end.
I wonder if Rodders just slowed down an extra bit so he didn't have to do another lap. So I know it was looked mighty close. Yeah, so big congrats to the podium of Rodders and Madley and Beans.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'll have a quick rundown. Do you want to?
Ask them if they want to come down.
Yeah, ask them to jump down. I'll just give a quick monologue for the next minute or so. Drag them down. We'll have a chat with them. So, folks, while Speed goes off and goes and brings our top three down, which of course was Rodders, Madley, and Mr. Bean, and also Banksy, who's our driver of the race. There's the results for you there. Rodders, who put a 1:12.4 in as the fastest lap, I believe. Madley in second position, very well done. Great tactical race there. Mr. Bean, who finished only a second and a half behind him, excellent there. Banksy Kai in fourth. Fifth position, Ben Davis. Sixth position, CSAM. Seventh position, Rigel. Eighth, Evil. Ninth, Audi. 10th, Fergie. 11th, John D. 12th, Pinpoint. Then, of course, you can see the rest there. We've got, I say the rest, I don't mean that disrespectfully, of course not. Gabsy, Dave Crew, Marco, and so forth. An outstanding race, some really close racing there all round, in my view. And hopefully we haven't bored you to tears with our monologues and our dialogues, as we've now got the top three, who was Rodders, Madley, and then, of course, it was Mr. Bean. And, of course, our driver of the race, and we'll talk to him at the end of the top three there, which is Mr. Banksy Kai. So, into first position then, Rodders. Give us your interpretation. Very well done. Excellent race. We watched it and we were really, really enthused with how you were racing. How did it go for you?
The car felt good. It just there was one corner that if you went the tiniest bit over, I got a 3.5 second cut and a 1.8 second cut, and I think I got another couple of cuts. But I think it was a tough race for everyone. So really bad luck to Banksy and CSAM. I was looking forward to a great fight. I was slowly catching them up just before the pit stops. And then, just in the last bend, I don't know what happened. They both collected each other. And I sailed through, and from there I just had to not do anything stupid. And so it was a really enjoyable. I was ashamed to miss out on a good fight, but enjoyable race, and I'm obviously pleased with the win.
Yeah, very good. Speed, anything from you for Rodders?
Yeah, you look to get a cracking start, mate. You pulled like a 2-second gap, and I think you said you got a slowdown that dropped you down 4 positions. I bet you was cursing at that one.
I was, but you've just got to get the head down, don't you? It's I knew there was a chance everyone would make mistakes, so but 3.5 seconds was I couldn't believe it when I seen it. I was like, Jesus, man. Didn't even know I'd went off track. It didn't feel like I had, but there was one corner that was just really bad for it. Can't remember what turn, but yeah.
Well, very well done, Rodders. Really good, and ultimately, you're a super quick racer, and because of the incident there with Banksy and with CSAM, which of course you were looking forward to the battle, but that clearly that enabled you to close up as you did, and of course win. And it's, I think it was a 1:12.4. I mentioned it earlier on, but that was your fastest time, I believe. Is that right, Speed?
I believe so. I'm going off what you say because I didn't look at it.
Yeah, it was 1:12.4. Yeah, very good, excellent. On to second place then, Madley, my Welsh big friend there. Fantastic race from you. At one point, you were you were 16th, but you were 16th with the first and you had pitted, and I gave a Mystic Meg moment where I said I think he'll finish in the top 3. One, because of the speeds that you were doing, and 2, because you had pitted when others hadn't done. How did the race go for you?